Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ronald Ray here, your boy with a cornbread accent. Welcome you to this week's episode of WWE Monday Night Raw Recap. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, this was the aftermath of Backlash Premium Live event, so we had some little bit of fallout from that. Also, some build up to Saturday night's main event, as well as at least one match signed for the Raw after the Money in the Bank Premium Live event. More on that later. But before I get started, let's do the usual thing here. If you're digging what I'm talking about, click that like button. Also, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this week's Raw. Also, if you're not a subscriber yet, come on, man, help me out here. Be a champ and click on that subscribe button. Now, with all that out of the way, let's working go. And this week's Raw starts off with a segment featuring CM Punk. The Punkster makes his way to the ring, and he's mad. He's pissed off. Yeah, that's what he actually said. He's pissed off, not just at Paul Heyman, but pissed off at himself for trusting Paul Heyman once again. He didn't listen to Jay Uso when he trying to warn him about Paul Heyman. He kind of apologized for that, but still, like I said, pissed off at himself. That's when Paul came out. Uh, then CM Punk told him, say, "Hey, I want you to come to the ring. Choose your words wisely, because it might be the last words you speak. But beyond that, explain to me why you did what you did." Out comes out Seth Rollins and says CM Punk again tops himself and showing how egotistical he is, making making Paul the bad guy here when it was you Punk all along, putting Paul Heyman in that situation. So since CM Punk wants to play the victim all the time and be a martyr, he had Braun Breaker by his side as usual. Basically told the big badass doll to go sick him, and that's what he did. Uh, Punk did the best he could, kind of fight him off. Seth Rollins got involved as well, but here comes Sami Zayn to provide some help. But when you got a badass dog on your side, that's almost what you need. He starts throwing Sami Zayn around. Then the World Heavyweight Champion himself, Jay Uso, came out to lend a helping hand as well, but the numbers game kind of faltered on him as well as Sami Zayn and CM Punk were laid out, getting a couple chairs. They came in and finally chase off Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, and Paul Heyman. Uh, that's really 3 against 2. Don't count Paul as a uh, wrestler for anybody fight any of those three. So be interested if they do add a uh, third member to the new Paul Heyman group of guys, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins. Let me know. Who do you think might be a third member? Who would you want to see be a part of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman's new group? Let me know in the comments. Later on, there was a little locker room segment where Seth Rollins said he's leaving, whisper something into Braun Breaker's ears, and more on that later. What he did whisper in his ears. All right, this brings us to our first match of the night, and what a dandy. It was Penta versus Chad Gable. Like I said, this is a good match. Uh, Basically, Penta went after Chad Gable, uh, kept on kicking him and chopping Gable down. And oh, by the way, before they even got the match started, they brought Pat McAfee out. Of course, I'm sitting there like, hey, they could have done that during commercials, but I guess they had to get a good ovation for Pat McAfee for taking the ass kicking from Gunther at this past Saturday's Backlash Premium Live event. Anyway, Gable wind up getting the advantage after hitting a couple of flying headbutts. Penta would fight back after Chad Gable trying to remove his mask, but that didn't last long as Penta went for a plunger and got hit with a flying headbutt on the floor again. A couple of thrust kicks started another Penta comeback. Gable counters a sacrifice with a ankle lock. Looked pretty smooth. I mean, Gable's probably one of the smoothest technicians in the WWE right now, in my opinion. Uh, Chad went for a superplex, but or actually before that, let me see. Yeah, Chad Gable went for a superplex. Of course, Penta was able to throw him off and hit the Mexican's destroyer, and that wins it for Penta this week. Again, that's 2 weeks in a row he used that Mexican destroyer for the win. Makes me wonder if they're going to basically make that his finisher now instead of the Penta. What do you call it? Uh, Penta Slam or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called now, but that move looked pretty good as well. But um, and People always pop for that Mexican destroyer, so or Canadian destroyer, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, again, good match here. Another loss to a luchador by 4, Chad Gable. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe he should ask his buddy El Grande Americano to come in next time. Maybe they should team up. Anyway, speaking of American Made and all that, we had a tag team match after that. It was American Made versus War Raiders with World Tag Team Championship chances, you know, or opportunity laying in wait. War Raiders doing their usual thing, had things going their way. So blind tag led to a Julius clothesline. Uh, New Day was actually doing commentary in this match, saying there was might be some issues between the Raiders right now. Ivar would get tagged in, uh, basically kicking and teabagging the Creeds. Eric and the ref gets distracted by Xavier Woods as Kofi Kingston went up and nailed Ivar. Creed won it with a Brutus Bob. Pretty good tag match. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the War Raiders, but American Made, definitely a fan of theirs. Like I said, a solid match. Not the greatest tag team match I've ever seen or anything like that, but pretty solid here. We'll love to see the Creed brothers get a chance at the tag team titles. They are growing on me. Uh, Kind of sort of reminds me. I hate to throw them in that Steiner category, but yeah, a little bit of that Steiner category. They do their suplexes, but they kind of got their own thing going with their athleticism. They'll do backflips, moonsaults, and all that good stuff. So, like I said, let's hope uh, let's hope the Creeds at least get another shot. At least get a run with those tag team belts. I would dig that. How about you folks out there? All right, next up we get a segment featuring the World Heavyweight Champion Jay Uso. He came in the ring. He said, "Hey, he's got a big target on his back. He's got Logan coming up at Saturday night's main event." Out comes Gunther and said, "Hey, you kind of leaving something out." I think it was June 7th, the Monday after Money in the Bank pay per view, that Gunther will get a shot at whoever the champion is, whether it be Jay Uso or Logan Paul. He say he hopes it's Jay Uso so he can put him back in his place. Jay Uso fired back, said, "Look, I am in my place. I am main event Jay Uso. So guess what? Come after or basically after he beats Logan Paul, he's going to rewind it back and beat Gunther as well and walk out again like I did in WrestleMania, the World Heavyweight Champion." Right? Uh, After this, we found out what uh, Seth Rollins whispered in Jay Uso's ear. Uh, they was doing a backstage interview with Ludwig Kaiser. "Hey, where you at? I ain't seen you wrestle much." And before he get anything, we heard some noise in the background, and then we see Braun Breaker standing over Jay Uso while he was on the ground. Looked like the badass dog did something to kind of hurt Jay Uso though a little bit. Put some uh put some knocks on him a little bit. Uh, but Seth might want to wait to do that too many times because, like I say, he's got Logan Paul. If he gets by Logan Paul, he's gotta go against Gunther. So I think Gunther will do plenty to, soften him up for Gunther. Story storyline mode. I really gotta say that. Don't want Vince Russo thinking. Speaking of which, more on that come spot show live stream. Yes, I did all that. Hey Fabe, I said that line. This a cheap plug for my spot show live stream this Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Check it out. All right. Next match is Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, two former leaders of the Bullet Club. Back and forth, pretty much started this thing out. It was pretty much back and forth during the whole time. Um, it was still Finn hit a hot shot on Styles, but again, Styles would come back, hit his signature moves. Um, JD McDonough trying to, oh, got that one. Let me go that back a little bit. Uh, Pretty smooth transition here, as well as Finn Balor was going for the Pele kick, but another guy who does a Pele kick knew how to reverse that and turn it to a calf crusher. Um, Match proceeded from there. JD McDonough and Carlito tried to interfere. Penta came in to help out after AJ Styles kind of laid him down. This would distract Finn Balor enough for AJ Styles to hit the phenomenal forearm for the win. So don't look like looks like Dominate's still gonna have an AJ Styles problem. And next week they did have it signed Finn Balor, JD McDonough versus AJ Styles and Penta. Should be a great tag team match there. I would say my favorite promo of the match has to be this one. This might be my favorite promo of the year. Uh, Basically, Becky came out and boosted about what she did to Lyra. Said, "Hey, I didn't really lose that match." I mean, she even asked the fans like, "Who in that match left to go to the hospital, and who her got to go on her bus and do shots of tequila after the premium live event?" It was Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch pretty much said, this pretty much was a F you to the fans, and I loved every minute of it. She said she wasn't only manipulated by the by the Lyra Vicaria, but she was also manipulated by the fans. She thought she was like one with the fans. They was riding with her. They were, basically with her once she started climbing up to the top. But once she became successful, fans kind of turned on her, and so they couldn't, and only thing Becky could figure out was, hey, uh, guess you can't relate to me as you once was because I became successful and you all remain losers. Uh, and because you don't know how to be successful. Great line there. Of course, I messed up the line, but go back, watch it. Great line in that. She also stated those girls will soon realize what it's really like to be held down by the man, and man being Becky Lynch. Like I said, probably my favorite promo segment of the year so far. This brings us to the main event of the night. Julia and Roxanne Perez went up against Rhea Ripley and the WWE Women's Champion, or Women's World Champion, excuse me, Io Sky. Uh, Honestly, I don't know what they're teaching there in NXT as far as women's tag team, but they need to start doing that with the men's too. For me, I love watching these women have tag team matches, especially this one. Start out with Io Sky and Julia going at it, or actually Perez, they did a little throwing of hands. Then Julia and Roxanne would take over on Io Sky. At one point, she got a little bit of breather, was going for a tag. Of course, good old school heel shit. Uh, Perez came out and pulled. Rhea down as Io was reaching for the tag. Make sure she's seen it. I like this right here. Make sure she's Io's seen it, so there will be no tension of why didn't you tag? You weren't there. I think they're trying to play that storyline in the War Raiders match. Um, but anyway, all went out on the floor, went after each other on the floor, and basically took each other out. Io Sky still pretty much taking most of the offense from Julia and Roxanne Perez. Finally, Rhea Ripley does get in. Uh, After that, all four women kind of went at it. They all got their stuff in. A bunch of near falls. Io was in the or I Io was in there again, uh, taking a lot of the offense again, but giving a lot of offense this time. She got a 2 count from her moonsault till Roxanne Perez wind up saving her from that. Little blind tag from the veterans, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Uh, that's when things uh, started started coming to an end right there. The veterans took advantage of their ring awareness. Io Sky moved out of the way of a Roxanne Perez cross body block, which caused her to hit Julia. Io took care of, well, actually, it was Rhea Ripley who headbutted and took Roxanne Perez out of it. Riptide on Julia. 1, 2, 3. Your winners is Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, she kept eyeing that world championship belt. So, and Io's fully aware that, hey, you know, uh, I know you're coming after it, but almost seems like the joyful Io Sky was trying to make Rhea break character a little bit. She's trying to get her to do I, I guess the Io taunt now and um, do the high five thing, and almost Rhea kind of halfway did it, uh, and towards when they was leaving the ring, uh, Io sitting there all smiles, hee hee, whatever, and Rhea cracked a little bit of a smile, so I don't know if that was kind of Io trying to rib Rhea not, or that was part of the storyline, but still, either way, still pretty entertaining. Anyway, that does it for this week's WWE Raw Recap. Hopefully, people enjoyed it. Like I said, click the like button, comment, and subscribe. Folks, have a good one. Take it easy. Also, condolences again go out to the family and friends of Sabu, one of my favorite wrestlers, basically in the 90s and stuff like that. I said, again, talk more about that later. Uh, anyway, like I said, folks, have a good one. Take it easy. And until next time.
So long from the peach state of Georgia.
Ronald Ray here saying thank you for checking out my video. If you don't mind, go ahead and click that thumbs up button, leave a comment, and share this video with family and friends. I would also appreciate it if you would subscribe to RP2 Vision, where I cover the sport of professional wrestling from yesterday to today. Now, don't forget to click the notification bell as well, so you'll be notified when my other weekly content is available, like Wrestling Trivia Tuesday, WWE Raw Recap, and AEW Dynamite Recap. I also have 2 live streams. Every Thursday at 8 p.m., it's Spot Show Live Stream, where I discuss the latest news in professional wrestling. And on Friday nights at 8 o'clock p.m., it's Wrestling Gold Friday Night, where I discuss the good old days of professional wrestling. When wrestling was wrestling, wrestling was real because it's still real to us. Folks, have a good one and take it easy.